Perfect. Thank you very much. It's fall and time to start thinking about all those plants that will survive through the upcoming winter months to bloom again in the spring. And right now is the perfect time to fertilize those plants, trees, and shrubs. KZI 9 News morning anchor Chelsea Deffenbacher has the details in this week's In the Garden, sponsored by Johnson Brothers Garden Market.
I'm here with Caleb Johnson out at Johnson Brothers Garden Market, and today we're going to be talking about fertilizing the plants that we want to come back in the spring. So can you tell us a little bit about when we should start doing that?
Yeah, fall fertilizing can be tricky because right now you don't necessarily really want to fertilize because you're going to put on a lot of new growth right before the cold winter kind of weather kicks in. So really, most plants that you're going to want to fertilize in the fall, you want to wait until they're dormant. So once the leaves have fallen, the nighttime temperatures, and we're getting some cold weather, that's usually you're going to know the plant is kind of asleep and not ready to put on new growth. So any fertilizer you're going to put on it is going to benefit the root system and not necessarily new growth, which is really key going into the fall. The only exception would be lawns. If you are fertilizing your lawn, you're going to fertilize something that's going to cause it to really grow and thicken up before the winter, which is what you want to help protect it.
Okay, and there's different types of fertilizers for different types of plants, so why don't you walk us through some of the different kinds and what we should be using?
Yeah, so if you have some newer plantings of trees or shrubs that you've done either this year or the last couple years, or even a tree or shrub that's kind of been struggling, you want to use some sort of all-purpose, fertilizer. So you could do an organic, you could do a slow release, you could do one specific, if it's a rose or an azalea, one specific for that. It doesn't really matter. Just once that dormant season is kind of kicked in, getting some fertilizer down in the ground is going to help make that root system have some nutrients available throughout the winter. And it's also going to help right when the tree or shrub wakes up in the spring to have some nutrients available. And it's just going to give the plant a lot more vigor, which is going to help support it during those colder winter months. So new plantings or struggling trees or shrubs, definitely when they're dormant, can benefit from a fertilizer, in the late fall.
Okay, and then what about the ones over here?
Yeah, so if you've got berries or a citrus tree, those also use a lot of energy to grow during the winter season, and they are going to definitely benefit from a fertilizer. If you think about a lot of like your blueberries, they're starting to flower sometimes very early in the spring. If you think about your strawberries and raspberries, very early in the season, they're starting to put on new growth. So getting some fertilizer in the ground now, this late fall season when they've gone dormant, is going to give them a really good start to energize for spring with the nutrients available. Now, citrus trees are a little different because they're going to be protected, but citrus trees bloom like crazy and put on fruit in this fall winter season, so don't forget to feed those. So any of your fruiting plants definitely could benefit from a fall fertilization.
Okay, and then what about bulbs?
Yes, so bulbs, your tulips, your daffodils, your snowdrops, all those are growing and doing things under the ground in the winter time, so having a fertilizer that's high in phosphorus, so a bulb-specific food or bone meal, is going to provide a lot of good nutrients for them to have bigger, better flowers, be sturdier. So getting that in now so that when they start waking up, January, February, March, they've got a good supply of nutrients in the soil already.
Great. Well, that's going to do it for In the Garden. Back to you in the studio.